All right. Good afternoon. Just tough game on Saturday night. Obviously got back late. Guys, a chance to get back today and regroup and have some good time together with them and evaluating everything, watching film, and getting ourselves physically and mentally ready for another big opportunity this week. Scout team players of the week: defensive scout Patrick Finley, offensive scout David Holloman and Peter Schultz. Proud of these guys. And then special teams scout Liam Zacchiao, who's overcome an ACL injury a year ago and worked extremely hard and does a great job every day. So proud of our guys in that regard, and excited about this weekend. Great opportunity for our program with the Michigan Wolverines coming for homecoming, and with the big noon kickoff being here, a lot of guys excited about that as well. So big week for us to be able to get healthy, get better, and press on. Questions?
Tom, forgive me, this is, I don't know, kind of a more sort of philosophical question, but I know you're without your top two receivers Saturday. Do you feel like the offense is getting a better sort of feel for just where to put guys to get the most out of them, I guess? And I understand that some of that has to kind of get thrown in the trash when you know you don't have Cam and then you lose DJ in warmups or you can't clear him after warmups. But do you feel like you're getting a good enough command of the other guys in the offense, where to get them the ball, how to get them the ball, like why they're getting it at a certain point in a drive to get the best out of them too?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that, it's always difficult when you lose two guys that have been your most productive playmakers. But at the same time, other guys got to step up, and a couple guys made some plays. I didn't think we had 5 drops, which is something we can't have. We needed those catches in those situations, and challenge those guys to step up in that, and that's part of the execution piece, and to help our quarterback out and help our whole offense out. So, but I do think that as everything progresses, you do figure out more about how teams are going to defend you and different things you can do to get guys the football and trying to be able to maximize that. And as we saw with a guy like Jalen Lucas, is a guy that we need to and want to and expect to and get him the ball more. He'll be returning kicks for us now consistently, and then just trying to get him more touches without question, because he obviously showed what he can do with the ball in his hand in that game, and need to continue with that. And so, but there's also there's parts to that, there's pieces to that, and as we get our guys developed each week and opportunities to be able to maximize the skill set of our guys on the opposite side of the ball.
To keep going on Jalen, then, what's been, I guess, the holdup? Obviously, he's not a really big guy, and I imagine that's an issue for pass protection, but what has kept you guys from getting the ball more at this point, and what do you have to be sort of creative about, or how do you have to be creative to get him in positive situations?
Yeah, I think that there's some variables there with that. He's obviously running back, and pass protection is a big deal. It's a part of that, and we don't sub guys a lot, so you got to be able to stay with the personnel grouping that you have in those situations. So I think that's a big part of it, because every time you sub, then they'll come in at their own leisurely pace to be able to slow everything down. So that's schematically what you want to be able to prevent from how we want to operate. And so then just being able to grow, he's young, true freshman, but just to continue to expand his knowledge of what we're doing and find creative ways to, like I said, you can't just insert it in for a play, and that's kind of how it's, maybe some styles of offense you could do that more, and just being very transparent about that. And I think it's obvious as you watch this play, and a lot of teams do that now. We've played several teams already this year where they'll stay in the same personnel package so you can't sub, and so, or they'll do certain things on third down so you can't sub in your third down package. So there's that strategy going back and forth, and a lot of people are doing that. So, but to be able to bring him along and get him more involved is definitely a priority for us right now, and as he continues to grow and develop as a player. And like I said, you see what he can do with the ball in his hand, and we know we need to do that.
Hey, Coach, just want to get your thoughts. How would you evaluate development of the offensive line over the last couple of years, and do you feel it's to the point that allows your program to consistently compete for bowl games?
Well, I'd say that we played better this past week than we did the week before, but seeing some guys around. Still thinking I think he needs to get better. I think that's something that I want to focus on in both recruiting and in player development, and continuing to evaluate that. because you know you have to consistently have a group of guys ready to play. Things happen, injuries happen, and when someone goes down, you got to have another guy there. You know, Josh Sales is going to be getting more reps, you know, and that's something that's a positive thing as he's young and developing, but continue to grow him. And other guys are coming along. Khalil's progressing well and continuing to get better, and that's every time he plays, he gets better and better, which is big for him and for us. And so I just think that's an area that, we got to make sure that we're I do like our young guys. I think we got some really good young old linemen that we're trying to bring along, and that is a position that takes, you know, 2 or 3 years for a guy to really be physically in that mode. I know Matt Bedford was the exception to the rule to come in and play as a freshman. It doesn't happen very often. And but at the same time, I just still looking at it, big picture-wise, we need to get better there.
Hey, Tom. I don't think we've talked to you much about Lewis Moore, another junior college transfer. Came up with that big play on the sack. I guess, what do you like about the way he fits in with your defense and just his play on Saturday? Yeah,
I think Lewis did a great job. You know, we're trying to find a niche for him within our system to maximize our roster. He came to us from junior college, as you mentioned, was a really two-way guy there. Mostly was a receiver, played a little bit of defense. Just by doing our homework with him, you know, he pretty much practiced mostly on offense and just a little bit on defense. So we knew he had a high ceiling. We felt like we took him as a defensive back, as a potential nickel guy, because he can play corner or safety, and love his athleticism, love his ball skills. The thing that's probably was the biggest surprise early was how physical he was in tackling, you know, because we knew he didn't have an extensive background at playing defense, although he's from a high school in Dallas, Texas there that Mesquite Petit, and I know his head coach there well, recruited there for many, many years, and they've always produced a lot of tough, hard-nosed kids, and so I knew we were getting a good football player, you know, just from doing our homework with that, and he's just probably come along a little quicker than we thought he might, just because of his lack of defensive experience, you know, before we got him here, and also the fact that you know, he wasn't here in the spring. So I just think that that's it's been a huge plus for us, and continue to use him as a safety and as a Husky, and maybe even as a corner based on the needs of our team. So we like to get those versatile guys that can play multiple positions.
Coach, Jalen Lucas has been brought up. Josh Henderson also another guy. I know you can't predict the plays or calls so quickly, but how can you guys scheme to get these guys in the position to get the ball in their hands more once we've seen that they've got some electricity sometimes?
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's the big objective, and that was even a big part of our discussion as a staff yesterday, was being able to do that. And I think you're listening to guys there that have come on as the season's played out, and it's about, you know, getting playmakers the football and getting those guys the ball in space, and the guys that can make somebody miss, give them a chance to do that consistently. So those are two guys that we're excited about, and that just do a tremendous job. They're both such great workers every day, great teammates, do the little things right. And, we got several guys that we feel like we can get the ball to, and the challenge now is to consistently do that within our scheme and within our system, how we're organizing ourselves.
James Head was talking to us before about how he feels a lot of what happened on Saturday was mental mistakes and kind of some unforced errors. And you and others keep talking about, you know, the offense needed to develop consistency. I guess, what do you do in practice to develop consistency and address those kind of mental errors? Yeah,
I think, you know, even defensively, we gave up only 5 explosives the entire game, but there were some big ones that cost us, you know, and so, and you know, one was technique and one was communication, you know. So to me, that's, you know, and I will say, you know, the challenges, especially defensively, you play a lot of guys, which we want to do. There's going to be different guys matched up with different players in different situations, and it could be, you know, things that you have maybe rep that exact same situation. Sometimes you did it during a walkthrough, or maybe it was real practice rep, but sometimes it's just different types of layers to that. So I think that increases the challenge, but at the same time, that's how we, you know we want to play, you know. So that's, to me, it's just continued reps attention to detail in everything that we do. And I think our guys, we talked about that this morning as a team, was just to be able to go through and evaluate. We won the turnover margin, we won the explosive play ratio, but we had some mental mistakes that were costly. The punt block was a huge play for them, that really hurt us, So, and to me, when I look at, even offensively, our special teams and defense at times hasn't helped them. We've had a lot. Our starting position was 15 yards less than theirs, for average starts per series, which puts you at a disadvantage. We started on the 1 twice, inside the 10 several times, and we inside the 20 several times, and then so we gotta, everybody sees those stats where the percentage of scoring goes way down as you get, start further back, and it makes it tough on any offense, and so we're just trying to, we dropped 2 interceptions. One I thought would have been a pick 6, and we just got to make those plays, and just creating positive field position, and then those things those mistakes have put us back, whether it's a penalty on special teams. We've had more of those this year than we've had in the last several years, and it's been frustrating, and some of it's been some younger guys, but at the same time, we got to continue to teach. It's technique, it's execution, and so there's no shortcut to doing that. It's continuing to make it a point of emphasis in practice. It's continuing to focus on it because we go in the fourth quarter tied 21-all, and we got to find a way to win the fourth quarter. We won many fourth quarters this season already, and we didn't win that one, and it cost us the game. And so those third downs. You think about our defense. We had done a really good job on third downs until the fourth quarter. We had 3 of those in the fourth quarter, and they won all 3 of them. And so that to me is really. The fourth quarter execution it's in practice. It's the attention to detail when your mind is tempted to wander in a meeting or in a walkthrough and you're not the one in and you're staying off to the side and you're getting a mental rep. It's being able to be disciplined enough and making sure we're holding those guys. And we take a lot of pride in our walkthroughs and how attentive to detail we are. But obviously it's got to continue because when you're not getting the progress you want on game day, you got to make changes, which you continue to focus on the things we need to do to make that better. And that's what we're going to do. We just stay the course and continue to rep it and make sure the guys are in there that are ready to play and can help us be successful.
You may have kind of answered this just a second ago, but 2019, 2020, you were 14-7. The past year plus, you're 5-12. What's the biggest difference between the program during those couple of years and just what's been going on over the past season plus?
I would say, obviously last year was very difficult in regards to, losing some of those early ones, and then you start having mounting injuries, which makes it really challenging. I think, consistency in our execution is probably the one thing that would jump out to me, because that's how you finish games in those situations is to be able to execute better. We obviously got some new faces, from those couple seasons. And we have some guys have been here during that time, So, but I think to me, quarterback play, when you think about the 2 years before that, when the last year we had inconsistent quarterback play, just inconsistent, keeping the guy healthy, that position, I thought was tough. I think defensively, we haven't set our team up for success with takeaways like we did in those 2 previous years. I think that's a huge, probably way bigger deal than you realize. I think if you think back to especially 2020 season, that was a huge part of setting up the offense and giving them short fields and allowing us to be able to take advantage of those situations. So, and I think special teams too. I mean, even just you think about the field position has been not in our favor like it needs to be. And it's not major things other than that the block was obviously a major thing, but the block pump. But in the first 5 games, it's not been major things, but it's been the subtle little things here and there that have set us back on. We get a return to the 35, and then we get a penalty that puts us back inside the 10. Things like that are big deals. And I think that to me that those little small attention to the details of that hasn't been as effective, and I think it's hurt us. And it's affected the outcomes of games without question. And we got to find a way, to get those corrected and give ourselves a chance to be our best. Because right now, that's kind of when I think about this game, it just kind of those things showed up at critical times.
Coach, we kind of saw the defense get punched in the mouth and then really settle in as the game went on. But during the fourth quarter, Nebraska had a couple drives that kind of put you guys away. what is there any sort of element, maybe just the tempo or fatigue on defense that kind of allowed Nebraska to pull away in that fourth quarter?
Well, in the second half, for sure, we didn't stay on the field, as an offense. And so I think that took its toll in the fourth quarter. But it's about staying on the field. I don't think it's not tempo. It's, if you're 3 and out, you're 3 and out, whether you're going fast or slow. It's executing, it's staying on the football field as an offense and driving the ball. And that, to me, is the biggest issue. And I think it snowballed. Now, obviously, we had a big third down there in that fourth quarter that gave up the long touchdown. That was really, really huge. And so, but at the same time, after that, then I think the fatigue kind of gets into you a little bit. But yeah, to me, it's about offense. In that moment, in that part of the game was we need to execute, make contested catches, and keep the chains moving so we can stay on the field, create momentum, obviously put yourself in position to score points, but also that gives your defense some more time to take plays away from what they can run.
Coach, you were talking about Lewis Moore before, and earlier Bryant Fitzgerald said one of the things that stood out to him was just the energy that he brings. I guess, would you agree with that, and just kind of how would you describe him?
Well, he's a super positive guy. Every day he's the same. He loves playing the game of football, you can tell. Some guys are just that way. They just enjoy life. They enjoy competing. They enjoy practice. He's one of those. He laughs a lot. He and Fitzy they have a lot. You can tell they have fun together, and they have similar personalities. I mean, Fitzy might be a little bit more outgoing than Lewis, but at the same time, I just think, he has a spirit about him that you want on your team, you want in your locker room, and you want guys like that realize they're blessed. And I tell you one thing, he's multiple times has texted me and thanked me for believing in him and bringing him here. This is his dream to be able to play at this level, and he went to junior college to be able to have that kind of opportunity. And so I felt like he was overlooked in high school. He was on a very, very talented team, had a lot of guys that got more highly recruited than he did. And but I think that also goes into his attitude. He's really, really thankful and appreciative for what he's been given, and that he's making the most of it, which is pretty awesome.
Kind of out of left field, but Matt Holt, Coach Wilt told a story last week about how kind of like one of his first days on the job here, you were walking through the weight room with him and you just pointed at Matt and said he's going to be a really good football player. Obviously, his background's a little different. He's a walk-on. I think he said he basically just didn't have any offers. I think Wabash might have been his only other offer out of high school. I mean, number one, kind of how did you find him? I know Center Grove is probably just a program you see a lot, but number two, when did you maybe first realize there was something more to him than the average walk-on?
Yeah, first of all, he kind of got victimized by COVID, in his recruitment. I think that was a big part of it. He switched high schools, and just due to all the different circumstances going on and trying to find the best opportunity in that situation because of the pandemic that we were all in. And so I think that definitely set back his recruiting. He did have some injuries in high school. Would be another reason why he wasn't as highly recruited. Really liked his film. Was surprised he didn't have more going on. When you start looking at a guy, because what we do is we go through and evaluate guys for these preferred walk-on spots, which are really very valuable to us, and we put a lot into it and have a whole system that we do to evaluate those positions and how many slots we're going to take for each position group. And he was in one of those, and so honestly, he's been better than I thought, And so once we got him here, and we started practicing, and I would say for him it was the scrimmages. Every time we'd scrimmage, it was like, okay, this guy's just got a knack for the ball. And to play linebacker, it's about leadership and production, and he just produced. Every time we went live, he showed up and made plays. And so there's just a grittiness to him, a toughness to him, and he plays through all sorts of whatever is going on. Doesn't seem to matter, doesn't affect him in a negative way. So I just think as he's been here the longer, I just knew, you could just tell after that first fall camp that this guy's got something to him, and I'm excited for his growth and development. He's making plays for us, and we definitely need that. So really, really proud of him. But like I said, I'm not really surprised now that he's been here. He's proven that to us, and he's a good tackler, and he's smart, tough, and dependable. And those are three great qualities.
Against Illinois in week 1, Anderson had a couple big drops and had that one that was that ball that was tipped up for an interception. And this week, obviously, he's really stepped up with Cam and DJ out. Just how did he bounce back from those early drops, and how comfortable has he gotten this season, and how much has he progressed this season?
Yeah, so he's obviously gotten a lot more comfortable, and those can kind of be tough on you mentally, and you start second guessing yourself sometimes, and you got to flush it. And he's done a great job of just putting it in his past. And we've always felt like since he's been here that he has a dimension to him that we need. We need that explosive playmaking ability. He's one of our fastest guys at receiver, and made some big plays for us on Saturday night. It's got to continue. Want to grow that, keep developing that. Other guys got to continue to step up, and so I just think it's just being mentally tough and just flushing whatever happens in the past and not making it a part of your, defining your future to me. So that's really what it's about for him. And we talk about playing the next play all the time, and good or bad. Make a great play, flush it, play the next one. Make a mistake, flush it, and play the next one. And so he's done a great job of that, and I'm excited to see him continue to grow in our program. Awesome. Have a great day. Galileo.